Hi everyone, it's Suzanne. Thank you for joining me for our final update for our fourth year of homeschooling. In my last update, I said it seemed like a lot of time had passed because we had accomplished so much. And this time, it seems like the month just flew by and I was always trying to accomplish more. But I'm going to share with you what we have left. We have 1 month left of school. So we're in like countdown mode. Definitely looking forward to summer and definitely struggling a bit as the weather has gotten so much nicer. It's hard to stay in the house and do schoolwork when you just want to get outside, especially after a long winter. So we're trying to balance that out a bit more. And what that means is we do some homeschooling before we leave to go to the lake, for example, and hang out. And my daughter's already been swimming, not me, it's too early. And then we come home and do a little bit when we return. Now, I have to say the days that we do that, we don't get as much schoolwork done because we're a little burnt out by the end of the day. So, but we're doing the best we can given the beautiful weather, and I still want to push on because we have some things that I do definitely want to finish before the end of the month. Now, other years, if we wanted to go a little bit longer into July, we could certainly do that. This year, we actually have a hard deadline because my daughter is in a art camp the first week of July, and then after that, we're going away for the summer to another province. In our case, we're going to Prince Edward Island, PEI, which is an island on the east coast of Canada, and we're going to be there for the summer. So we're definitely pushing to get a few things done by the end of the month. What I'm going to do is talk about some of the subjects that I've referenced in previous videos and just tell you kind of where we're at quickly with those, but not much has changed since last month. And so I don't want to go into detail. If you want to see more references for the human body study, for example, I'm going to make a note about our human body study that we're doing. But in the last month's update, I showed you all the resources that we had for human body. And I say had or have because there's no way we're getting through them by the end of the school year. And no, there's way too many. I knew that when I was showing them, but in case you wanted to do a human body study, I wanted to make sure that I showed you what we had in case that interested you. I'm definitely pushing to finish our Latin America study by the end of the school year. So for me, that's actually more of a priority than the human body. So we've been picking away at the human body, but a lot of times our study with the Latin America ends up taking over. And I really need that to finish by the end of the school year, and I'll talk about why in a minute. But I just wanted to say this because I know when I put this video up, this is on sale. So this is the human body unit study that we bought from the Waldorf way. And we haven't actually started it. Look, I punched it on the wrong side. That's what happens when you bind your own curriculum. Anyway, I really like this curriculum. And because it's on sale, I wanted to make sure that I referenced it in case you're interested in grabbing that. It's $19. I think I looked, it was like $19.60 US. So it's still on sale right now, as well as everything in her shop. I've enjoyed a few different products from her. She has some series for the Magic Treehouse books that I really enjoyed. And so definitely make sure you check that out if you're interested. Okay, I'm going to move on to the Latin America study. And I've talked about this a lot in the past, particularly our last video. I said what countries specifically we were going to focus on to the end of the school year, and that still stands, and we're going to finish that for sure by the end of the school year. It's really important to me to finish the Latin America study. We started out the school year with our Latin America study. Specifically, it was Hispanic Heritage Month, so we focused on a lot of Latin studies and books at the beginning of the school year. We kind of detoured for our history. We did Native American Heritage Month. We did the Harlem Renaissance. We did some things for women's history. I think I'm forgetting something. We studied New York at Christmas time. So we've kind of been a lot of different places, but then we did come back to Latin America, which is where we are now. And I want to end the year strong, finishing up Latin America, in particular, working at the Living Legends curriculum that we have. And I think it's a really great tie-in. If you saw my curriculum video, you know that for next year, we are doing Guest Hollows Geography. So it will actually tie in quite nicely to what we're doing this year. So when we finish this, it will be a nice, seamless, I think, transition to start going into that particular geography. And I want to make sure that I finish this. I really hope we have time at some point to come back to other countries in Latin America, but this was a great introduction this year. So hopefully we get that opportunity, maybe when Vivian's in junior high, to come back and look at some other countries for sure. But yeah, it means a lot to me to finish this year. One of the things I designed, and it's kind of, I keep tweaking it. I've changed it once already, and we're going to continue to use this and see what it looks like at the end of the school year. And I have to give a shout out to Nikki at Homeschoolology, and I'll leave a link to her channel down below because she did a video on what geography they're doing. And I now have two resources. One I purchased from Teachers Pay Teachers because she was using it. And this was an idea that started from something she created for her kids. And she created a one sheet. So I was thinking about that, and also looking at the thinking tree books that we have for travel. And if you want to see the inside of those, I did a look inside for those last year. So I'll link them above. So between those, I came up with what I want to do for ours. And I'm going to try to use this for the next while. Now, this is what I tweaked. I added some information to the back because I forgot we had national trees. Everybody had a national tree. And some countries have national symbols, which I know in Canada, we have a handful of them. And then I just put currency, population. I'm not sure why I'm starting on the back. Anyway. This is a front, so you have country, capital, and then a part to color in the flag, and an interesting fact or favorite item, that the language, the primary language, because I know even in Guatemala, for example, the primary language is Spanish, but there's like, I think 30 some Mayan dialects. Don't quote me on that, but there's quite a few. I might be getting mixed up with the number of volcanoes though. And a place for a landmark. And then here's a spot that the kids can color in, while my daughter colored in where on the map the particular country we are studying is. So she did, I'll just continue with that example, Guatemala. She colored a little dot in there. And then it's like an interesting fact or favorite thing. I think I already said that. And I just put a picture of a plate, so that's a cuisine. And the national bird, national animal, national flower. So we're going to do that, and I'll keep these actually of all the different countries. So that'll be a nice keepsake. I'm going to bind those up, and over the years she can just keep adding to them. And it'll be interesting to kind of see where she goes before she graduates, like where we go in our homeschool. Thought that would be just fun to keep, and I just wanted to share it because I don't know why it excited me so much. And here's just one of the ones she did. Yeah, so I'm calling that our World Studies or Country One Sheet. Now, one of the things we've added into our month, we didn't really need any more study, but I think it's important and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're now studying about Prince Edward Island because we're going there for the summer. I personally haven't been there in like 20 years, which I guess is kind of sad because we're like very close in terms of provinces. And this is my daughter's first time in Prince Edward Island. So we're studying that along with reading Anne of Green Gables. So we're doing Magic Hearth's book study. We're starting this in June. I think given everything we have going on, I need to be a bit realistic. And we will be taking this with us and finishing it up in July. So this is just the book. And this is the gorgeous book guide. Now, I've already gone on about this guide and her other ones, but a ton. And I did actually do a look inside for this. Sorry, this is just the journal, just to cut in so I can put that down. Does she recommend getting a journal? This is the one Vivian picked out. And that will go with her book guide and all the activities she does. But like I was saying, I absolutely love these guides. I've been gushing about them. I did a look inside for this particular guide already, Anne of Green Gables. I'll link it here and in the description below. So if you have an interest, definitely check that out. And you know, I went on about it again. And the other guides, book guides that I purchased from Magic Hearth in my last video. And, you know, I titled the thumbnail, Loved Curriculum, because I am so in love with these. I just want to go on about them because they're magical. So if that interests you or any of the other ones like Green Ember, definitely check it out. And look at this book. This is one of the Anne of Green Gables books I picked up. Just want to see, does it show the illustrations? Oh, look, yep, here's some illustrations. Really love illustrated books. Yes, I am a big kid in that respect. I do want to note, last month when I did my update and I talked about the world studies, I did mention and show you this fairy lore. Instead, I was going to do that with our Latin America study and the fairies that were in those particular countries that we were covering. I've since decided to take that out, and I do really love this. And I'm looking at creating some sort of fairy study for us to do over the summer using this kind of like a spine. I thought that might be a lot of fun. And I have books from the library that I'm going through because I did ask my daughter if she wanted to do that, and she does because she loves fairy books. Her only caution, and it's so true, one of the lessons that I've learned and she's discovered because of my choices in that respect, is that when you have too many books on the same subject, you quickly get tired of it and it ruins the magic. So I'm looking at the fairy books that were suggested in here. You don't need them to finish this, to do this particular program. You don't need all the books. They're just suggested books if you want to add them in. So I'm having a look at them, and I'm just kind of trying to decide which books basically I want to get for the summer to do both fairies and kind of how to map that out for us to use over the summer. Because we are staying in a cottage, I don't mind taking a bunch of books to read, but in terms of activities and supplies, if we really wanted to dive deep into something that had a lot of hands-on activities, I'm not bringing a whole bunch of supplies in that respect. I'm into reading a ton of books, as you'll see in my summer plans. I'm totally into that. I am not into bringing a whole bin full of supplies to make different hands-on projects. It just doesn't make sense for the kind of summer that I want to have. But I'm thinking this might be perfect. I may or may not have the plan for this fairy lore study for the summer worked out by the time you see my summer plans video. But maybe that makes a video in and of itself. I don't know. If you're interested in something like that, please let me know down below. I had this volcano kit laid out because I was going to use it as an example of why I think it's an okay idea to put my Latin America study even before my human body study, because there are science elements that we're throwing into our study as soon as we can. For example, my daughter really wanted to do a volcano kit or something. She wanted to do a volcano, see it blow up for science. And because Guatemala has like 36 volcanoes in its country, I thought it really fit well with that topic. So we're going to do that actually in the next week. And we did finally do the Guatemala kit from the KIWI crates, and it had a couple different things in it. One of them was this little worry doll. So she made 2 of those. This is the one I could find before the video. I think they're so cute. I will say that's my challenge. I love diving deep into these countries, and there's so much you can learn, and it's also new and exciting. It's hard to shut it off to go on to the next country. You just want to keep going with everything. There's so many fun activities you can do as well. Now, in terms of our language arts, just because I mentioned them before, we're still continuing on with our word letters. Now, this one was grades 1 to 2. And I wanted to start at the beginning. So this is actually one thing I am taking with us this summer. We're just going to keep going. We do a couple pages a day. When we finish this one, we're going on to the grades 2 to 3, and I'll continue on like that. As I mentioned in other videos, I also picked up Gentle Grammar, which is free, and she only does 1 page a day. So we just continue on with that. I like it. And she doesn't seem to mind it. I wouldn't say she likes it as much as me. I just think it is actually a very gentle approach, and it's a great way to practice. The last exercise had her writing sentences with was and were. So there was like 3 different days she worked on was and were. And it's just an easy way to do that. So I'm very appreciative for that, actually. We'll continue on with it. I don't know if we'll finish it all. I think we had like 3 booklets in the end. Because I have a language arts program for next year, specifically the Beowulf grammar, I doubt we'll continue on with that because the Beowulf is a lot in and of itself, but we'll definitely keep going for now and in the summer with that one. And I picked up this. Now, I will tell you, this was, I think, for grade, I can't remember, it was grade 1 or 2, but it's just a 3-pack. And again, she only does a couple pages a day. It's just a little bit more fun and relaxed, and it's still introducing, so this one was just for punctuation. Now we did nouns and adjective was the first little batch she did, and I just like it. It's an easy introduction for some places that I just haven't done a lot of that with her. So this is a great, easy way for me to introduce them. And when she starts something new and asks, then I look it up. And my nitty gritty language arts book that I bought is a suggestion from Brave Writer. So yeah, it's just an easy way to do that. And it only takes her a few minutes. The other thing we started to do for our spelling, I know I've mentioned this, we're doing all about spelling next year, but in the meantime, we're still working on spelling. So I don't know how that will play out next year. We'll see. But I printed off a bunch of spelling lists from Nessie.com. We did a trial with Nessie.com. This is an app for reading, and we really like it, and we're going to continue with that. This is one of the topics I wanted to mention because it's also been taking a fair amount of time over the last week in particular. And it's trying to find the apps we want to use for the summer. Now, I've decided I want a reading app. So two specifically that I'm looking for, a reading app and a math app that Vivian can use daily now as well into the summer. So that we can just take it with us really easy, that she can have fun and learn. We have not used hardly any apps. Unless it was with a program like we did Hooked on Spelling, for example, was a program. But for the most part, we haven't done a lot of apps. This is all new territory, so I find it's a lot of time-consuming trial and error. And I have some recommendations for our Facebook group that we're in. If you have some, definitely let me know down below what you would suggest. But I have found we need to try it out. Vivian needs to try it out. I need to be involved. It just takes a bit of time. And I want to make sure that we have what we need before we leave, because I don't want to even think about that when the summer season begins. I just want us to have it on the app. It's a part of our daily life. Vivian does one or two in the mornings with each of them, and then off we go. Or if she wants to do them in the evening, if they're really particularly fun, that's fine too. But I don't want to be researching them is my point. I'll tell you where I'm at with that. For the reading, I really like the Nessie.com. It works. We're staying with it. We tried a couple different things, but that is what we're going with. Now the math, we're still in the trial stage. And I'll just tell you quickly what we have done. We did reading eggs. We did not even look at the reading part of it or the phonics or any of that stuff for reading eggs. We only used math seeds. Now, the reason for that is because we really like Nessie.com. And so we're going to stay with that. If we had a really loved math seeds, then I would have looked at the reading and to see if that worked for us, because why pay for two? However, we did not like math seeds. And part of the reason Vivian was getting frustrated, and I do not blame her because I'd sit there and I felt frustrated too. Every time, and I'll just quickly say why, it's the pacing of the games. You would click the answer, and first of all, you had to wait for the person to finish asking the question. Even if halfway through you knew what she was asking, you wanted to click the answer, you could not. You had to wait till she was finished speaking. She liked the automated voice. And then after you had the right answer, you had to wait for her to say, oh, congrats, or whatever she was going to say, before you could go on to the next question. It just felt really dragged out. It was not fun. And so we are not doing that. I really love trials for this reason. Now, what else do we try? Okay, what we're currently using for trial, for an app on Vivian's Fire tablet, she has Dragonbox. And literally as I'm making this video, it just went on her tablet today. And she played with it for sure for at least an hour and really liked it. And then I put one on my computer and it was Monster Math. And thus far, we really like Monster Math. It's really kind of interesting though, in that the child is only allowed to play one game a day. According to them, it's better to practice and have it seep in, that sort of thing, instead of cramming in a bunch of lessons. Because they do game/lessons, and anyway, I don't know about how that will work out. To be quite honest, I think that it should be the family's choice, not necessarily a computer game. I don't know if you can override that yet because it's so new. We'll see. If that's a possibility, then it's probably going to be the math that works for us. So far, yeah. So you can hear me kind of stuttering with what I'm saying. I'm not sure yet. I'll tell you that's where we're at though, is that might be the one for us. So far, we really like both of those in tandem. And we'll just see how that goes because it's so new. A couple other suggestions I had is Marble Math and Khan Academy. And we briefly used Khan Academy before. So I'm open to that for sure. I think these games, I wanted something more fun for her that she was definitely learning, but it had the video game, the kind of fun aspect. I mean, she's going to be 9 and she has been really wanting to do that. And I'm okay with that if she's learning to have fun. Well, she's doing it for sure. And Marble Mouth, I haven't had a chance to look into. So again, if you have something that your kids have loved, please let me know in the comments below. I'd be very grateful. Okay, I'm going to talk next about the books that we're currently reading. We do a huge amount of read alouds in our home and book reading. It's a big passion of mine, and it's now a passion of my daughter's, which I'm so grateful for. Now, this month we read less, and part of it has to do with our schedule is picking up and the weather's getting nice, so we're doing more outside. I mean, this is just common sense. It always starts to happen in the spring, kind of starts to peter out the amount that we're reading, and that, yes, that's fine with me. Dipping our toes back in. From COVID, we've been very careful, but we're trying to get we're inching our way back into the pool, so to speak. So she's back to swimming with homeschool. There's a group of people that get together and have homeschool lessons. And she also started tennis. And again, that's with homeschool. A bunch of homeschool groups go to this place and they have tennis lessons. And so those are 2 days a week. And as of last week, I also got a library pass. Our local library has a pass in conjunction with the sports stadium. So you can have a pass for a couple weeks and you can access all the facilities. We've been doing that so that Vivian has an opportunity to practice what she's learning in swimming, as well as we've been going to the squash courts and practicing a little bit, hoping it helps with her tennis. So those, when we do that at the gym, that takes a bit of time. And as I mentioned, the weather's getting nicer. So of course we're reading less. But I'll show you the books that she is reading independently and what she told me to say about them. Every time we go to the sports stadium to go swimming, go to the squash court, that is where our local library is. And it is like a magnet that pulls us in, certainly pulls me in, and we both get really excited, get a bunch of new books. And that's on top of all the books I slowly have coming in that I've put on hold over the last couple months. Anyways, I mention that because Vivian has got 2 volumes of Garfield. They have 3 books of comic books in each one, and she's almost finished both of them. She absolutely loves Garfield. Her favorite book is Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And if you saw my last thrift haul, I picked up a stack of these for her. She absolutely loves these. Now, the next one, she said I had to tell you about this one and recommend it. She just read this. This is the number 2 book of the series, and this is Magic Animal Rescue. And she absolutely loves it, recommends it. I think she had it read within 24 hours of bringing it home from the library. And she's asked for some more of these for her birthday. She really loves them. She read the first Ivy and Bean, and she said they were okay. And she's now reading The Dragon Master. This is book number 2 that she finished. When I found out that she loved them, I wanted to go out and buy them all for her. However, I curbed in my enthusiasm and ordered them from the library. So I have a stack of them for her. I don't think she's going to read them after the first time, so I'm not going to purchase them, which I think is very smart of me. And she's now reading the Renly series. This is book number 5, and she's about to start this. And I'm very happy because I bought a bunch of these from Book Outlet, and a few months back, I lose track of time, but I was reading them with her and she wasn't that enthused, and now she really likes them. So that makes me happy. And another set that I had picked up actually from Book Outlet as well is this Princess Pulverizer. And we read the first one and really chuckled. That was a read aloud, I don't know, months ago, probably last September. But now she is reading the first one on her own, and she'll go through that series, which is really cute. She's a princess who wants to be a knight. It's really cute and funny. All right, now the read alouds that we've done together. I said after Christmas I was going to do 1 fantasy middle grade book with Vivian a month because she really loves fantasy. This month we read The Gilded Girl by Alyssa Coleman. And this was in my last middle grade Book Outlet haul. And it was lovely. Really enjoyed this, both Vivian and myself. And it's funny, we bought the book, but we actually ended up listening to it on audiobook, which we really enjoyed. And it just happened to be, coincidentally, that we are reading A Little Princess. This is our shared read. And this book is actually like a retelling of A Little Princess. It has scenes almost directly from A Little Princess, which of course, since we're reading, was very evident to us, but it's magic based, of course. And the little girls can do magic. And I highly recommend this. It's really enjoyable if you like those type of stories. Like I said, we are continuing on with A Little Princess, and this we're doing a shared reading. And she read the first chapter, then I read the second, now we're in the third, and we're kind of reading a page or two, going back and forth, depending on how much we want to read each in a sitting. And that's how we're going to continue on with this particular book. Now, we always have a stack of different books going, and then we can mood read as we see fit. I just find that's a bit more enjoyable, and we tend to read more that way. Now, this month we didn't read as much as we had last month, as I've mentioned, because we are doing more outside activities. But I'll tell you what's in our stack. Another fantasy book is The Unwanteds, and this is by Lisa McMahon, and this is the first book in the series. Yeah, I'm not even sure we're a quarter of the way through, but we're liking it so far. I've heard such great things about this series, and I'm actually excited by this series. I would read this one even if Vivian wasn't interested, but it's a lot more fun when it's the two of us. If I can contain myself, sometimes I want to read more than she does. Now, I try to have an audio book on standby in case we're just not in the mood to read, or if we're in the car traveling. That hasn't been a big deal so much because of COVID, but now that things are starting up again, it's a practice I want to get back into. This month is another fantasy book, and it's called, I always forget the titles, I have to look it up. The audiobook that we're listening to is Dealing with Dragons, and that is by Patricia C. Reed. We are reading The Borrowers, and I would say we're 3/4 of the way finished this, and that, of course, is by Mary Norton, and it's the first book in the series. Now, we've started this and haven't got very far into it, but I love it as much as I like the first one. This is Magical Animal Adoption Agency. This is The Enchanted Egg. I gave this to Vivian for her birthday, and we'll continue on reading that because we both enjoy them. Now, the other two books are animal-based, meaning the characters are animals. I don't know if animal-based is the word, but anyway, the characters are animals. And in this one, it's Brambleheart by Henry Cole. Now, I picked up the first book last year, I think through Book Outlet, and somebody in one of my notes months ago said, oh, the first one's really cute, and that's good as well. So I ordered it off Amazon. Now, I have to say, I think this would have been better when Vivian was younger. She's not that interested in it, and I have to say it's a bit boring. The pace is really quite slow. We're more than a quarter of the way through this. I'm not sure if this is going to be like a DNF or not, if we're not going to finish it. I don't know. We'll see. And finally, for our read alouds, we're doing Heartwood Hotel, A True Home, and this is by Callie George. This is the first one of the series, and we haven't got very far into it. It's cute. I do think I enjoy this one more than Vivian does, but she asked to go back to it one day, so maybe it's just timing. But I hope we continue on with it because I did buy book 2 and 3, and I'd love to finish those. And I also mentioned these Calpurnia Tate books, the Girl Vet, in my last update, and these are by Jacqueline Kelly, and we're working our way through this stack because they're really funny, and I still absolutely love them. So does Vivian. I chuckle a lot reading them, so yeah. All right, I have one more book that I'm definitely adding to that pile for the month of June, and we will be starting it this week. It is a priority, actually, out of that pile, because it's The Secret of the Andes by Anne Nolan Clark, and I actually picked this up to go with our study for Latin America. And I also want to say, I had bought Brave Writer a couple years ago, and so it came with select books, and this was one of them. I am going to pull that out this month and see how that goes. I mean, I have so much going on, I'm not going to put a lot of time and energy into it. I'm going to put enough energy into it to see if I have any interest in continuing on with Brave Writer. So I have other book studies that came with that package I bought. And I know I'm going to be reading some of those books in the upcoming year. But my feeling so far towards Brave Writer is it's just really not for us. And I don't know if I'm for this whole spiral approach. I just feel like there's too much opportunity there for gaps. And I know people that love Brave Writer, but it hasn't It's all right. I wouldn't say I love it. I don't dislike it. I don't think I've done enough of them to equivocally say I do not like them, but I wouldn't say I love them for sure. And I'm not sure I like them. I'd like to do one more to determine if I can just let it go, basically. I mean, I could just let it go now, but since I'm doing this anyway, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to have one more crack at it since I already bought them. But if it doesn't go well, I'm done. Like, enough with the Brave Writer. Yeah, if it doesn't work, then I can say, done. You know, I can for sure say Brave Writer doesn't work for me. For those that love it, I'm happy for you. But yeah, I haven't loved it thus far. One final note is we did start doing a watercolor course. I signed up for a membership with Lily and Thistle, and we've done a couple of the basic beginner courses. So, you know, learning about brush techniques and brushes themselves and color, that sort of thing. Thus far, I really love her teaching style, and I like that you can pause the video, you can slow it down. Yeah, it definitely is something that I'm excited about. And it's one I am doing with Vivian as well, because I really would love to learn watercolor. You know, I've bought watercolor supplies over the last couple of years, especially, you know, I was going to do a bunch of it with our nature study. And if you saw my last video, hopefully that gives you a chuckle. But yeah, we never did any of it. And part of it is because I don't know how to watercolor. And I just kept saying I'll find the time to do that. I know everybody that does it say it's not as hard as you might think. And it turns out it actually isn't. But like in terms of even just using watercolors to make just a pretty picture of color, just with colors. And yeah, so I'm really happy and excited about that. And if we continue to like it when this month is finished, we're definitely taking our watercolor supplies with us to Prince Edward Island. Now, also Vivian did a class on Oat School for learning to draw birds. And so she did that, and it was okay. She said it wasn't her favorite. Now, Vivian has expressed for couple months now how much she wants to learn to draw. And I've been looking for a drawing class for her. The ones I found on Oat School were for 10 and up. The ones that I've seen for her age, but she doesn't really want to draw people at this point. So I really want a basic beginner course. Now, if you know of any online that you've taken or your kids have taken that you think might be something we want to try out, please let me know in the comments below. I would be so grateful. I'm planning an upcoming study for our art that covers basics, but she really wants one now, and I would love for her to be taught by somebody that actually knew what they were talking about. Again, if you know anyone, please, or have a suggestion, please leave it in the comments below. Okay, I think that's everything. Now, if you are like us and you're trying to finish strong for the end of the year, I'm sending you a whole bunch of energy to get you through till you're finished. And if you're on summer vacation already, I hope you're enjoying it. We're getting excited about ours, and I'm planning out our summer vacation. That will actually probably be the next video you see on my channel, is our summer plans and what we're doing for our homeschooling part of it over the summer. If you want to see that, definitely make sure you're subscribed. If you like this video, please hit like. If you'd like to see more like it, definitely hit subscribe, and I will see you soon with another video.